Matt Morris here. Welcome to the Unemployed Millionaire Show. Today I want to cover a topic that is a little bit counterintuitive for most people, and it's really what makes a great communicator, what makes a great influencer. You know, leadership is all about influence, and chances are, whatever you're doing in your life, you need to have a greater level of influence. And so this comes from a lot of, people who've studied neurolinguistic programming, and they've done all these different studies. And so the numbers I'm about to give you, it's give or take a little bit, but virtually every expert in the field agrees that they're pretty much within this range. And so the three things that make up a great communicator is your physiology, your tonality, and the words that you actually say. And so if you wanted to break those into percentages, so starting with your physiology, your movements, your facial expressions, how your gestures and all that, 55% of what influences someone comes from your physiology. 30% comes from your tonality, and then 15%, only 15% comes from the words that you say. So 85% of what influences someone, what causes someone to buy your product, join your business, has absolutely nothing to do with the words that you say. And I was actually a little skeptical when I saw those numbers, even though all the experts pretty much agree that those numbers, give or take a little bit, are true. 55% physiology, 30% tonality, and 15% the words. But here's where I came to. One of my favorite talks of all time is from a leader in network marketing, a guy named Glenn W. Turner. Now, Glenn Turner started a company back in the late 60s, early 70s, Scott Cosmetics. Their training arm was called Dare to Be Great. And Glenn W. Turner gave this talk that was called Challenge to America. And it's probably my favorite talk of all time. I mean, after hearing Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and Les Brown and all the greats, this one talk was my favorite talk of all time. Now, the thing about Glenn W. Turner is he had a hair lip. And so it was very hard to understand him. And I remember the first time I heard this talk, it was on it had been converted from an old cassette to a CD. And I couldn't understand half of it. I mean, I had to listen to this thing multiple times. I probably listened to it 100 times, but I finally figured out everything that he said in it. And I just absolutely loved it, and I actually sent it to be transcribed. And when I got it back, the transcription, and I actually read through it, it made no sense. I mean, it was really, the words that he said were not really that impactful. They weren't, it definitely wasn't eloquent at all. But, so I'm reading the words, and it didn't move me at all. When I read the script, it was like, wow, that's really everything that he said? Here's what made it so impactful was how excited that he was. If you see the video on this, I mean, he is all over the place. His physiology is just huge, hugely impressive. And his tonality, I mean, he was so excited, you can't help but get excited. And what happened, I mean, Glenn Turner, he built what at the time was one of the largest, if not the largest network marketing companies in the world. And so it just goes to prove what's going to influence someone is not the depth of your knowledge. It's not the words that you say. It's how you say it. It's how you communicate. So stop worrying about having the right script. I could give the best script in the world to the wrong person who's got a lousy physiology and a lousy tonality, who's not excited. And even though it's the best script in the world, they're not going to make a sale. They're not going to enroll anyone. They're not going to be successful with it. I could take someone who is really great, has great excitement, physiology, tonality, and all that, and give them the worst script, and they're going to make sales all day long. Why? It's because of the way that they communicate. And so communicate from a place of excitement, enthusiasm. And, there's a lesson that someone told me years ago. It said, if you get on fire with enthusiasm, people will come from miles away to watch you burn. So my friends, get excited, get enthusiastic, and that is what's going to cause people to move them to action. So hopefully this added some value for you. Love to have you share this around on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and my newsletter at mattmorris.com so you get all of these video updates. Love to hear your comments below. And as always, make life an adventure.